Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to Guns N' Roses Central. And today I want to talk about a new mini-series I'm going to be doing on my channel called Songs That Could Have Been on Appetite for Destruction. Now, if you guys are a Guns N' Roses fan, you would know that Guns N' Roses recorded a lot of the stuff off the Illusions album even before the Appetite days. So I want to talk about some of the songs that could have appeared on Appetite for Destruction, but for one reason or another was not included on the album. So this series is going to be split up into probably several parts. So let's talk about one of Guns N' Roses' most popular songs. So one of the songs that was actually one of the early songs that Guns N' Roses wrote was Don't Cry. In fact, it's a song that dates back to their club days as far back as 1985. So during the Making Effing Videos Part 1 for Don't Cry, Duff McKagan revealed that due to financial restrictions placed on the first album by the label and it not being completely finished, the band decided to hold the song over for their next record. And it really does make sense, seeing that Don't Cry had so much time to percolate that it would go through several iterations before the final version, but it's pretty much the same strong structure and lyrics that ended up on Use Your Illusion 1. Also, Axl revealed in an interview that when they were making the Use Your Illusions album, there'd be two versions of Don't Cry. So he said there'd be one version on Use Your Illusion 1 and one version on Use Your Illusion 2. He said the one on the first one is the newly recorded version of the original lyrics, and the second one is the newly recorded version of the alternative lyrics, kind of like a 1991 update. It's got different words and melody in the verses, and it kind of happened while I was recording the other one. And Axl also revealed that a lot of Guns N' Roses fans from the club days were disappointed that Don't Cry was not included on Appetite for Destruction, but Axl said that they were kind of trying to save this song for what they considered one of their ace cards, because Guns N' Roses weren't sure whether they would sell 5 records or 1,000,000 records, so they waited until Use Your Illusion to actually release the song. So there's an acoustic version of the song that Guns N' Roses did live from 1985 up on YouTube. I've linked to it down below, and there's also a demo that was recorded in 1986, which is also available on YouTube. I've also linked to that video down below. So the second song that could have been on Appetite for Destruction but was not included was Reckless Life, and sometimes it's just referred to as Reckless. And Guns N' Roses opened up almost every early show from their first gig with the classic lineup in the late spring of 1985 until the year they were signed in 1986 with Reckless Life, which was often stylized as Reckless spelt with a W instead of an R for the first letter on the set list. So the punk-like song moves at breakneck speed and echoes Shadow of Your Love musically, and not surprising since both were actually Hollywood Rose songs. So the demo of the song was recorded in 1986 and would open the band's Live Like a Suicide album, and was later included on GNR Lies as well. And then in 2004, the song was also included on the 2004 album The Roots of Guns N' Roses, which was a compilation album containing old songs of Hollywood Rose. And there was 3 versions of the song. There was the original demo version, there was a Gilby Clarke remix, and then there was a Fred Curry of Cinderella remix as well. And the song Reckless Life was actually written by Izzy Stradlin and Axl Rose, as well as Chris Webber. So Tom Zutaut, who was the A&R guy from Geffen Records, who had actually discovered Guns N' Roses and actually signed the band, was interviewed around the time of the 30th anniversary of Appetite for Destruction by LA Weekly, and he was asked about whether there was anything in hindsight he would change about Appetite for Destruction. He said, "I wish we had put Reckless Life on it, but that was an argument I lost. I think it might have had to do with the fact that Chris Webber co-wrote it, and it would have led to a publishing issue, but that song belonged on the record." Now, another song that sort of sounds a bit like Reckless Life is Shadow of Your Love. Shadow of Your Love was actually an old Hollywood Rose song that Axl co-wrote with his buddy from Indiana, Paul Tobias. So like Reckless Life, there are also 3 versions of Shadow of Your Love. There's the original demo version, there's the version with the Gilby Clarke remix, and then the Fred Curry remix as well. Steven Adler claimed Shadow of Your Love was the first song that Guns N' Roses performed together. He said, "It was magic from the first day," the drummer told Music Radar. "The first song we played in rehearsal was Shadow of Your Love, and Axl showed up late. We were playing the song, and right in the middle of the song, Axl showed up and he grabbed the microphone and was running up and down the wall screaming. I thought, this is the greatest thing ever. We knew right then what we had. Briefly considered for the inclusion of GNR Lies, Shadow of Your Love was relegated to a B-side status, showing up officially on the 12-inch picture disc single for It's So Easy in 1987, and then on the flip for Live and Let Die in 1991. So the song, of course, opens up with Axl Rose screaming, "Wake up, it's time to play," which we would later hijack for the live introduction of Welcome to the Jungle by howling, "Wake up, time to die." And then the song would also be included on the Guns N' Roses EP that was released in Japan in 1988. So the EP featured 6 songs: It's So Easy, Shadow of Your Love, Move to the City, Knocking on Heaven's Door, Whole Lot of Rosie, and Sweet Child of Mine. So Duff McKagan did an interview with Guitar World magazine in 2007. He said, "I can't really say for sure why it didn't make the record in the end," referring to Shadow of Your Love. He said, "It was just a real simple, good rocking song, but I guess it wasn't as seasoned as a lot of our other material, and probably Axl didn't quite see the potential in it." Also, he said, talking about the time when he entered the band, he said Izzy and Axl already had done some songs, and the other guys knew them. Think About You, Anything Goes, Move to the City, and Shadow of Your Love. He said, and we did sped up punk rock versions of Stone's Jumpin' Jack Flash and Elvis Presley's Heartbreak Hotel. So Slash also revealed in his book that when they were doing their first session with the producer Mike Klink prior to Appetite for Destruction, he said, "We did one session with Mike Klink and recorded Shadow of Your Love, which was the best song in the set the first time I saw Hollywood Rose. Our version of it didn't make the album, but it was eventually released on a Japanese EP." The next song that could have been on Appetite for Destruction was Bad Obsession. So when Bad Obsession was first being played in 1991, Axl would often introduce the song as saying something along the lines of, "This is a little something we wrote about a year before we wrote Mr. Brownstone, and it'll be on the next album." So why did Guns N' Roses wait? Probably because the song was a not-so-oblique reference to heroin, which was already being dealt with on Appetite for Destruction with Mr. Brownstone. Now, why did Guns N' Roses wait until Use Your Illusion to actually release the song? It could be that it's a slide-heavy guitar song, and just the groove of the song just fits better in line with Use Your Illusion than Appetite for Destruction. So in a 1991 interview that Duff McKagan did on radio, he said, "It's a follow-up to Mr. Brownstone, really. Actually, it was written before Mr. Brownstone. Bad Obsession is us objectively looking at ourselves. Duff/Axl, you're screwing up, you got a bad obsession." So the next Guns N' Roses song that could have been on Appetite for Destruction but was held over until the Use Your Illusion one was November Rain. So Axl told Rolling Stone magazine, "If it's not recorded right, I'll quit the business." And this was around the late 1980s. So before Guns N' Roses settled on Mike Klink to be the producer for Appetite for Destruction, they did record some demos at Sound City Studios with Nazareth guitarist Manny Charlton. So Axl was a huge fan of Nazareth, and Tom Zutaut, who was the A&R rep from Geffen, enlisted Manny to come work with the band. And some of the songs they worked on included Welcome to the Jungle, as well as a demo of November Rain, which was about 18 minutes long in its original version. So needless to say, they needed to sit down and focus on arranging the song, the guitarist Slash said. So it had been a song that Axl had tinkered with for years. It actually dated back to the early 1980s. You know, whenever there was a piano present, Axl would sit down and start playing the song. And even at his friend Mark Cantor's wedding, Axl performed November Rain. And Mark Cantor got married in like 1989, 1990, so the song was obviously around before the Use Your Illusion albums came out. So Axl was annoyed that Tom Zutaut suggested that the band wait until their next album to release November Rain because the song meant a lot to Axl, and the band already had a ballad in Sweet Child of Mine. So Axl let go of the decision and decided to hold it over until Use Your Illusion 1. So the song that was a point of disagreement was November Rain. Appetite producer Mike Klink told Guitar One in 2002. He said it was an epic, but the rest of the band felt it wasn't right for the first Guns N' Roses record. They wanted to keep it guitar-oriented. Obviously, Axl felt it was his finest moment, and it was. It's a great song. That was one of the tougher hurdles to get over on that record. When we went to do the album, it was coming down between that and Sweet Child, and I knew November Rain wasn't done. Rose said in Making Effin' Videos Part 2 for November Rain, "I didn't really want anybody to help me write it, and at that time I knew it was going to take a lot of work to do what I wanted to do with it, and I really didn't feel capable, and the people around me were capable of understanding what I was trying to do, and there wasn't enough time to do it, so we decided to save it." So LA Guns guitarist Tracy Guns commented on the song. So he said, "When we were doing that EP for LA Guns, like 1983, he was playing November Rain, and it was called November Rain, you know, on piano. The guitar solo was amazing. Way back then, it was the only thing he knew how to play, but it was his. He'd go, 'Someday this song is going to be really cool,' and I'd go, 'It's cool now, but it's not done.' You know, he used to say, and like anytime we'd be at a hotel or anywhere, there'd be a piano, he'd just kind of play the music, and I'd go, 'When are you going to finish that already?' You know, and he'd go, 'I don't know what to do with it.'" So there's an acoustic demo of November Rain, which you guys can check out on YouTube. I've linked to it down below. So that does it for this episode of songs that could have been on Appetite for Destruction. Join me next time when I'll go over another 6 or so songs that could have been featured on Appetite for Destruction, but for one reason or another, were later released or decided not to be released. So thanks for watching, guys. Have yourself a good one. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this episode, and be sure to comment on which songs you think should have been released on Appetite for Destruction in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe if you love Guns N' Roses as much as I do. Take care.